Hello everyone, this is Cookies, and we've finally got another turn. Been looking forward to something rolling, because I'm casting 2 games, I'm in 2 games, and I'm temporarily subbing a game. And I had 0 turns roll yesterday, so a little bit starved for some Dominions, but we've got this high action game in the second round of Lucid's tournament. So let's go ahead and see what's going on here. Bunch of players logged in too, which is also good to see. So we got a messenger from Agartha. This is a super dumb war. Yeah, I imagine from his point of view. And it looks pretty rough while I line up my tech combo to beat Atlantis, but I'm pretty sure I win it in the end. Interesting. I wonder how he plans to take Atlantis's underwater forts, assuming he even reverses the current momentum. Okay. And then we got some strikebacks from Man. We got some further Kalem raids. It looks like Man attacked more than Kalem. I believe last time Man caught and defeated, I think, one of the groups. So Kalem wasn't able to track income for some of what they gained. But let's go ahead and start looking at some of these battles. We have Call of the Winds. I only like this in cases where you feel confident that it's going to be a low amount of PD, like 1 PD. And it can sometimes beat like 3 to 6 PD, depending on what the PD is. Sometimes you get lucky and they land on the commander. But almost always, if it's more than one, you're going to have a lot of the birds route. And I like free stuff. And these are, aside from the air gems you pay, they're free stuff. I prefer free upkeep over initial cost, generally. But what I find most valuable about Call of the Winds is this commander here. And the reason why is later on, if you decide to go for Draconians or Eagles, sorry, if you go for Draconians, they come with a Draconian Chief, but you don't want to risk that Draconian Chief because of because he can summon more Draconians. And when you summon Eagles, they don't come with a commander. And when you summon Griffins, they don't come with a commander. Call of the Winds comes with a great commander. 28 map move, flying. I find there are very few things better than this great hawk leading around other birds like Draconians, Griffins, just whatever flying units you want to slap on this bird. It's got 50 leadership. So I view these Great Hawks as the primary benefit of the, was it 8 air gems now? So yeah, you can use it for raiding, but generally when I use it, and this is just my personal preference, is I like to have this Great Hawk. And, the birds themselves, maybe you get like 30 patrol strength out of it. But being able to command Draconians and move them around the map quickly is such a benefit in a war. For cracking forts, because you only need one big group of Draconians as long as you don't lose them. You can crack a fort, then move on to the next fort, and so on. And it can very easily support multiple armies. So I'm a big fan of these commanders. My other favorite commander for flying units, that's kind of like a generic commander you can get, is the Horde from Hell Devil, because he's also got decent leadership. So now Kalem doesn't have this issue, because they're a bird nation, so he's not going to care as much about this. That said, this is a lot of PD for these birds. He might snipe this mage, which could be worth it. It's a Rob Elder. And, well, I take that back, because this is man's birds. So, but I think he's unlikely to kill this Storm General, because they're generally pretty tanky. This is in gold Dominion, so he's got 23 protection. I think Call of the Winds gets more value not on the initial turn in a war, but maybe a few turns in when people get tired of putting PD everywhere and they get stretched thin on recruitment. And so you end up with just one PD in a lot of provinces. I find that's a great time to start bringing out Call of the Winds because the birds can just go province to province. Early on in the war, when you've got more PD, I mean, what is this, like 5? Was this 11 PD? Yeah. This is probably too much, so I expect this to bounce. If he's lucky, though, he gets the mage. Yeah. So, and then this is the kind of result that you get when people talk about the, Call of the Winds being kind of a wasteful spell. I think it's actually a really good spell. It's pretty well balanced. They're kind of sneaky good, again, especially against certain commander types. So, like one elf PD against most elf blesses I've ever seen, Call of the Winds will kill that elf because they get a mage commander. And so there's definitely places where it can bring value, but let's see how the rest of them went. Okay, this looks more like 6 PD than 11 PD, so maybe a better chance, but still in cold weather. What is the weather here? Cold 4. The other issue with the birds is their low morale. So even if they could win, they frequently rout anyways. So they're winning right now, but they rout. And we lose another bird. Okay. Hopefully there's retreat routes for some of this, but I'm worried there aren't. Then we got another set of birds. Okay, this should work. This is just 1 PD. And there's a lot of momentum. Even against 23 protection, they might punch through that. Yeah, because they get 2 attacks. All they need is a few high DRN rolls. And the other 2 guys are lower protection. They might help HP route a bit. So this should work. Well, assuming the commander doesn't get killed. Let's see. Yeah. No DRN rolls yet. Did get 1 point there. Alright, and they got the HP route, it looks like. Nice. So that worked. We'll have to see where that is. Alright, and then Atlantis attacks Agartha. Large force of Ice Guard here. The glaive guys are a little bit faster. Okay. And then man with another attack. Have some Bakemono here. This is a lot of PD. Where are these guys going, though? They're not routed. Were they set to retreat? Okay. Well, I mean, could have won that. Alright, Tianqi attacking Belden Forest. We've got a scout. This looks like a throne. Let's go ahead and check it. We've got a black steel kite shield. That's kind of nice. There are archers in there? There are not. Yeah, so it's mostly just the drakes and the 5 wizards. Let's go ahead and take a look at their paths really quick. D2, so some Skelly spam, maybe some fire elementals, water elementals, maybe some illusions, and maybe a little bit of mind burn, maybe a soul slayer or two. Okay. In Walden, Marignon attacks. We've got the Virtue. We've got 3 segments of mostly Royal Guard. We've got some body ethereal point buffers. Going up against a throne. Three breaths out of the Drake. A little bit painful. 2 of them came pretty quick. Fire Elemental kills a square. Alright, seems to be enough here to clear her up. Virtue's in the back killing mages. Nice. So, loses 5 Royal Guard, 10 Swordsmen. That's fine. Took a throne. Alright, and then we've got Calum attacking Man in a few different spots. Alright, so these are these Raven Guard groups. This is a lot of Bakemono, but they might land on the leadership. Looks like there's 4 of them back here on Stay Behind Troops. A little unfortunate that they've all got the same command. Well, they preserve at least one of the commanders just long enough. Let's see. So the Castellan was the one that survived this guy. Okay. So, look. All right. Oh, so not that much of a PD dump, but rather a bunch of recruited Bakemono. Loses 3 of the chiefs, though. Only 8 of the Bakemono shows. But eliminates the Raven Guard group. I mean, I think this works out on gold. 16 times 28. Plus the Raven Lord is 70. So that's 518 gold lost from Calum. That's 180 plus 7 times 8. What's that? 56? Can I still do basic multiplication? Yeah. So 236 gold for Man. Alright, so that worked out. Ionia. Do we catch another Raven Guard group? This looks like maybe 2 groups merging. There's a few birds here, but I think there's too many Calum troops here for sure. Should be a pretty easy win. Okay. Loses 3 in... Oh, and this is our second battle here, because this was in the magic phase, so this is the normal phase. We have a Harab Elder. If he's not set to retreat... Yeah. Alright. So man gets a gift there. A 430 gold mage. Then Patala. That's why sometimes even backline scripting is important. I know a lot of people get lazy on that, but no reason to kill off mages. All right. Where? Okay. I'm completely blind. All right, where is this? Okay, he was kind of hiding behind the hill. All right. So we have a Paya the Prophet with a pretty full kit. Horned helmet, black steel plate, shield of valor, coral blade, a handful of acorns. Does have stealth and seduction. Interesting. Is a shape changer. So it gets out there and gets raiding. Finds a bunch of bats though. Does get off personal iron skin first. So that was the key to victory. So a successful raid on Agartha. It just runs right past Tianchi and goes after Agartha. I think Agartha did some vulturing on them. And then we've got Calum attacking man. More Raven Guard. I think Calum wins here. Now the hold and attack is just letting them eat a lot of free crossbow bolts. But it does let these groups spread out and they're on hold and attack rear. So as long as they pass the check and actually land on the rear, then should go okay. So we got the Castellan and 2 more commanders. I'll highlight them really quick. Just the Castellan left. All the commanders are dead now. And they clean up the rest. So that was a pretty nice win for Calum. Where was that? That was here. What was this? 9 Raven Guard kills, I think, 20 PD and an extra commander. Then we've got Pyrene sallying versus Calum. Okay. I didn't realize Calum was managing that siege now. We've got Raven Guard against a few mages doing imps and a little bit of Mouflon. Gosh, they seem like they're sniping the leadership. Although now they're getting stuck on the cavalry. Okay. So Pyrene's cap is free. They lose 3 priests doing it. But the Cambion Knights and the Cambion Counts do just fine. Agartha attacks Atlantis. In a big block formation. Interesting, but not much against them right now. I think a little bit of friendly fire there. Oh, but doesn't kill anyone. Atlantis attacking Agartha. We have a small raiding party with the dragon. A fair number of crossbows here. Light infantry should not be an issue. Really, either the heavy infantry probably shouldn't be either. I discard being very tanky scales troops. I think that should be the leadership. Yeah. Does he team kill? Oh, nope. Alright. Let's see, what did they kill? Another commander in Gilgad. Got Agartha attacking Atlantis with a group of cave knights. Now, these are the really bad mercs I've talked about, and I think they've finally run into their match. I don't... It looks like a lot of stuff, but I don't think it's gonna do a lot. Yeah. Okay. So, easy victory for Agartha there. And then man attacks Amiradon with another group of Bakemono. This might be enough Ichthids to win, though. We'll see. If the first squad doesn't HP route them. Nope. Oh, that's too many Bakemono. Although one squad did route. Okay, but keeps them on the field. Nice. So it loses 5, takes care of 11 PD. And then we have presumably a Bloodhunt assassination. Nope, this is just a random event. This poor scout is fucked. Okay. And we have a People's Death match, which is... I hope everyone sends something. You know, even if it's just a scout or something, it's just fun to see a lot of participants. So maybe I'll ask people to go ahead and put out a reminder to send someone. All right, so in terms of the cave system, how are we looking? Atlantis now has 5. The cavemen still have 2. Here and here. Tianchi has 3, one in 3 different cave systems. Marignon has 4. Calum has broken down into the caves now. Agartha's got 7, which makes sense. Although it's funny that they just lost one here to Patala. Patala having some fun on their way out, taking 150 gold from Agartha. Okay. Let's start off with Patala. So Patala's still under siege. Tianchi still being overly cautious, I think, about these PD dumps. Remember, I think Patala's just got like 1 turn worth of recruitment in here. So I understand wanting to break the fort quickly, but you've got time before an imprisoned pretender would come out. I'd go ahead and clear this up and get the income flowing. So this is like 300 gold a turn that TNG is just leaving on the table. They could try and patrol out some of this unrest. It's time to get these heavy cav moving. Looks like these troops didn't really move either. So he's hired mercs down here. This seems like the wrong location. So not sure why they got hired there, when presumably you could have hired them here in Sermiak or here in your fort and gone after the PD dumps with them. I think that would have been a great use for the Eternal Knights. So, but he is getting some site searching going. Is the cat not here? So where's the cat? Because the cat took out one of the PD dumps. So is he getting greedy and going for thrones? I mean, is that what this is for? The Eternal Knights are going to go take this throne? Okay. But I still think you should clear this up. There's no reason to just leave all this here. So, okay. But yeah, I mean, opportunities abound for TNG as long as they stay in control of the capital. I don't think there's a lot inside here right now. So there's no reason to, like, I understand wanting to have the capital, but also you could get a lot of gold in the meantime by just clearing this stuff up. Could have maybe cleared it all up in 1 or 2 turns and then gathered back on the cap. And it would look a lot more assertive to neighbors who might be thinking about vulturing, like Marignon or Atlantis, if you went ahead and took this. Let's look at his throne options, though. Throne of Death, he should know it's the Throne of Death by the scales. Throne of Dreams, which increases Sloth, so he should know that this is the Throne of Dreams, too. And then this is the Throne of the Artificer, which is really good. So I think he's right to go for this one first. So, okay. And then let's look at Atlantis. We've got upgraded forts here and here now. This one's also being upgraded. This one's still coming up. I think he might be planning to fort Cerulean Sea too, which would give him a very strong power dynamic here. Marignon can sail over. Atlantis can raid out. So that creates a very interesting border here. I do think it incentivizes underwater forts, because then there's a lot less Marignon can do to prevent Atlantis raiding. And there's a lot Atlantis can do to drag out a war. Alright. So, yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at the situation between them and Agartha. So we've got 2 Agarthan armies. They're both starting to center near the cap. We've got a large Atlantis force on Bountiful Land, and a smaller group holding the retreat route. $230 troops. I think I'd go for clearing this with both of these. Yeah, this group might walk on your cap. But the potential to kill an army is really nice. Another alternative is both of these forces could move into Bountiful Land and they might push the Atlantis force, and so they take a combined fight on Bountiful Land. But we'll have to see. I mean, this army has other options too. They could come down to Umrul, which I don't think Agartha would be able to have a lot of say over. Meanwhile, the siege continues here on Frosted Peaks. We've got some Woodhinge Druids down here starting the forging along with a Necromancer. Huh. Well, I think the most important thing right now is keeping his forts unsieged, because otherwise it's affecting his recruitment. He does have a fair number of forts, though. He's got 4 forts that are unsieged. So he can still do some recruitment down here. The Palisades is being upgraded. It's not a great province for producing troops, though. Drip Cave. I mean, this would be potentially pretty nice. Although I think you normally want more resources. Maybe Golem would have been a good fort, too. Did clear up this raiding party over here. So he can come back to Flemistan and maybe start trying to push north. So now he just needs to He really needs to score a victory over one of these forces. We've got more ice guards coming down. We've also got unsleepings, I guess, as they're called. These guys. Reasonably tanky, high damage coral glaives. They'll poison troops who hit them with short weapons, which Agartha has a fair amount of with all their heavy swordsmen. So I'm still pretty bullish on Atlantis, I think, but some of this is Heat Dominion. Wasn't there a site? I forget. No, that was up here along the Citis border, the Frozen Lands site. But down here, I mean, we've got a very strong Dom push from Atlantis, but he's kind of run out of that. So, as long as... Ooh, taking a fight here would be risky, actually, in the Cold 3. So yeah, maybe you try to push on Bountiful Land. And then this force might go on your cap. I don't know. Can 230 troops defeat them in Heat 1? I'm not sure. Even in Heat 1, maybe? I think that might be enough of a difference for the crossbows. We've got 190 troops here. Maybe they just keep patrolling the capital. I'm not sure. He does have a couple more forts down here. It's going to be difficult for Atlantis to control all of these. Evocation bonus, that's nice. Yeah, so I guess we'll just have to see what Agartha ends up doing. I think, yeah, Bountiful Land is probably the best fight to look for. I think the main question is, do you want to bring this stuff from Agartha? Because this stuff might come and help here. I think a solid move for Atlantis is maybe just running down here and sitting on this fort. Because then Agartha is probably going to want to chase you. Because if they come here, then they'll see Packwoods and they'll know Packwoods is a smaller fort. And they'll be able to take that before say an Agarthan army here can maybe push up here and take this. And then Atlantis is going to have a lot of room to reinforce, and any fights up here would be in Cold 3. So I think Agartha would be incentivized to chase, and if they're chasing, they're not guarding the front line as effectively, which maybe allows you to keep piling troops onto this fort. There is another Agarthan fort over here with a shocking number of resources from these neighboring forests. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to give the advantage to Atlantis right now, but if Agartha takes a good fight, specifically I think in Heat 1, or maybe their crossbows can do a lot more, then it could definitely swing, but Atlantis just has so many forts. They're about to have another one, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 forts producing. Or wait, did I miss counting one? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. 8 forts producing against 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because of the cave fort. And Atlantis is up in provinces, so they're collecting more gold right now. I I think this is an uphill battle for Agartha. I'm pretty sure the glaive wielding guys can maybe kill the dragon too, as long as they don't fail the morale check. They hit so hard. And we've got the big coral guys too. I mean, we'll have to see. I'm curious to see what Agartha does here. Especially to try and push this back into Cold 3. Alright. Sliding on over. We've got Man getting pushed back significantly. They were on Pyrene's cap, I think, all of 2 turns ago, and they had just won a big battle against Pyrene. And now they have this scattered chain of raiding heading back to Man. So they did collect some income here. It's curious here that I think this was the one with 1 PD. So I think Calum just forgot to put PD on this fort. And that was the only reason this raid worked. This one failed. And then, where was the other one? Over here? No, that was a Calum raid. Where was the Man raid? I think there was wasn't there another one? Was it in the cave? Oh, Calum patrols out a false prophet here. Okay, so that's why they were patrolling their Greatshade Forest. I think I'm just blind. Maybe it was here. No, that was a Calum raid. They won these 3. Oh, I guess they patrolled out a werewolf. I don't think we saw a werewolf raid. We know this one bounced. Am I crazy? Okay, a Miraidon. Oh, there was a follow-up army that won this. Okay. That makes sense now. Alright, so there's... I mean, he's still got a giant army. He's got at least 500 troops back behind the river now. So I think he's getting ready to push out. It's going to be a hell of a showdown between these Ironbound and or Earthbound, sorry, and this huge army being fielded by Man. And then, meanwhile, Pyrene has freed his capitals, so Pyrene's going to start recruiting again. And has the potential to try and PD dump as well. And then, because of the Man raids, I think it's going to be difficult for Calum to try and repin Pyrene. So Pyrene could... I mean, they're going to attack someone eventually. So it's either going to be Agartha or Calum, and both are distracted right now. So in some ways we could see a mildly resurgent Pyrene, which is really interesting. Alright. And then scrolling down again, we've got the Marignon Satis War, where Satis is... I guess Marignon patrolled out more scouts. We have an assassin killing a Hierodule. I think that's how you say that. Hierodule? I don't know. But yeah, the assassin clears out the tavern. We have a whole bunch. I think these are Marignana's scouts or something. We got a plague doctor patrolled out. He must be set to retreat. So every time he gets patrolled out, there's a good chance he gets to safety. Unless the dragon is set to attack, which I think would be reckless from Sitis. The scout is killed. The scout is killed. That scout gets away. The plague doctor gets away. Now, I am kind of curious. So something I like doing is setting my scouts to retreat, but I know a lot of people get lazy about that. And then people lose their scouts and they think scouts are a waste of money. But these scouts are not close to home. But this scout is close to home, so if you set it to retreat, it can go home. Yeah. So, a little bit different there. Alright, so in the meantime, Marignon has gained Walden, which is the Crystal Throne. So then, well, we've got a big Marignon army here. I don't know if they're just... I would not like paying this much money for this many troops to sit around. But maybe it's to deter Calum. And in the meantime, maybe he's blood hunting. But without graphs, it's hard to know if they're actually blood hunting. My poor scout getting... They're trying to burn out my poor scout with the House of Justice here. First Gate, Devil's Den. Throne of Earth would be pretty nice on Marignon. I think deviating these 180 troops down here to go get this could be a good call. Then maybe move some of this stuff down. Another option is to send all these troops to Bergamum. And then these troops should be able to come in here and go to Quelladon. So you mass in these three to try and pen the army. And then if you want, you can just send all three forces into here, and then this force should get a free pass into Quelladon. If this army moves out, you get the Patala effect, where the cap gets put under siege, and then it gets really difficult. Plague Doctors? Don't they? I'm pretty sure they have a Reaper effect, don't they? Well, it's not directly a Reaper, but they create Plague. Creating a Plague... on a province that you want seems a little counterproductive to me. This is down to 36,000 pop now. And it's got gross scales. I mean, you want this cap. It's got, I guess, just 4 gems. But, I mean, it's a lot of death income. I don't know that I'd want to be poisoning this stuff. Is the goal to poison the dragon and maybe have the dragon die that way? It's already got a limp. The other thing I'm still kind of wondering about is Dom kill, but I think Dom kill went out the window a bit when the dragon came back. That's snakes, snakes. Snakes. But also, if you want to Dom kill someone, you probably need to build a temple here in Esquania. I mean, surely at some point you have to bite the bullet, right? LA Sitis is someone who can scale really tall with these, either the Tomb Chariots or the Tomb Worms. This is a Tomb Chariot build. More so in that it's just not a big bless for Tomb Worms. 600 units, though. I mean, a lot of them are trash, but still. But, I mean, Marion could have near 600 too if all these troops had moved to the front lines. But maybe a decent amount of paranoia against Calum. But if he has some scouts, he should know that Calum's at war now with Man. Well, I mean, that I'm not sure that that would stop this particular Calum player from vulturing or nibbling at someone. Okay. Yeah, we'll have to see what happens here. I'm curious if Marignon's going to take a fight soon, or if Satis maybe takes their 600 stack and rolls into the 400 stack here. He does have 43 points of PD, so maybe he's trying to bait a fight into a PD dump. Has 120 additional troops here. Right, Throne of Earth would be really nice. I think I would just like to see a little bit more aggressive behavior rather than scaling behavior. I'd like to see some of these troops migrating west in more parties just to help secure territory. But yeah, we'll have to see how this ends up shaking out, along with the Calum Man War, the Atlanta Sagartha War. TNG should still be wrapping up. And we'll have to see what Pyrene does with their newfound freedom. But one thing I can't be disappointed in is the amount of action going on. Very appreciative to all these players for being good, aggressive players on a 9-player map. And I think I'm going to be pretty happy with whoever ends up coming out on top, but we'll have to see how the rest of the game shakes out. So thank you for taking a gander at this turn with me, and I will see you guys next time. Have a good one. Bye.